What's up everybody, 40 the Broadway Saiyan here, and welcome back again to my YouTube channel with another Final Fantasy Ever Crisis video. In this video, I'm going to be giving you guys a short guide for the second part of the Beach Festival Fun, which features another Watermelon Tonberry Boss, as well as a brand new free-to-play weapon for Glenn. I'm going to be going over those, as well as what to do as a free-to-play or light spender in terms of spending stamina and which exchange items to get in the exchange shop. So let's go ahead and just get right into it. The first thing we're going to take a look at is going to be Glenn's brand new weapon that you could get. So this is very similar to what Zach just got, and if you have the necessary power, you can actually get this all the way to Overboost 10 for free, as long as you have, the necessary team comp to be able to clear the content needed to get all of the different parts. This is the stats right over here at OB10. It's going to be lower in terms of like the main three stats compared to an OB10 gacha weapon, but especially if you're free to play or a light spender, you may not have any access right now to an OB10 weapon from the gacha. So this is going to be great in terms of like even just a weapon for Glenn, or if you want to use it for like a stat stick. That's what it definitely would be good for. The ability itself, it's pretty generic, to be honest. It's a magic non-elemental single target attack with a decent modifier. It's not the greatest, but I mean, that's what it is. It is a free weapon. The reinforcement abilities make the character a little bit tankier. So if you have this equipped on like Glenn, for example, either on his main or secondary, he'll benefit from that. Or even like if you have this as a sub weapon, you do get 50% of the reinforcement abilities. So that is something to consider there if you want to give your character a little bit more health and magic defense. The support materia for a free weapon, I'd say, is decent. You get 2 ability damage plus 10%. So the first 2 slots, you'll have some flexibility with your materia. You can either use magic or physical, but definitely the third one, you want to use magic because it gives you a boost to magic ability damage. All in all, cool weapon, great for free-to-play or light spenders, especially those of us that don't really pull too often, that are saving for certain banners. So if you can get access to this and get it close to OB10 as possible, it's a pretty decent, solid weapon for free-to-play. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and talk about the boss fight itself. So this time we're facing a yellow Tonberry. So it's a reskin, just a different color. It's right over here, Yellow Watermelon Tonberry. It's very important to really take a look at the details of this fight. I know sometimes we're rushing content and we don't take a look at it, but it is important because it will give you information on how to beat this boss, including debuff immunity, certain debuffs that this boss are immune to. So first off, its weakness is pretty straightforward. Water and Circle Sigil is the one that you want for this. If you have access to Cloud's new weapon, this will shred a majority of this event depending on your power level, because it is water element, and also it plays into the mechanic of this particular boss fight. And then afterwards, if you have a Circle Sigil, such as like Ruin Blow, depending on which type of a team you're running, might as well have that. If you don't have access to Cloud's weapon, you can also use Lucia's Serpent Eater. If you have access to that, that is also a single target physical water attack. But if you don't have access to that either, you can also craft Water Blow. However, that recipe is found in the Crisis dungeons, which you may not have the power. Some players may not have the power to access that just yet. So if you don't have that, you can also just craft water. It is magic, however, it still will work since the boss is weak to water. The immunities are as follows. However, the most important one you want to take a look at is it is immune to physical attack down and magic attack down. So you cannot debuff this boss's physical and magic attack. You can still, however, debuff its defenses. So if you have a physical defense breaker, which is going to be the best option for this fight, or a magic defense breaker, that's something that you could consider there. Definitely you want those debuffs because it definitely helps out a lot. Now this boss's gimmick is he has a concentration bar that you want to deplete. It is very similar to like Ifrit's bar or Shiva's bar if you guys have done the summon boss fights. Pretty much the way to deplete it is physical attacks will help you deplete it, and the greater the chain of consecutive attacks, the more the gauge will be depleted. And from playing through this already, because I did play through it, the water physical attacks really shred this apart. So if you have access to that, this event is honestly not nearly as hard as the first one. This boss doesn't have a blindfold ability, which was annoying with the other fight, where it would just, put the darkness ailment on one of your characters. Usually it's your strongest character, because that happened to me a lot when I was hosting co-ops for this particular boss fight. For that one, excuse me. But overall, I didn't think this one was too difficult. Compared to the other one, this one wasn't that bad. However, if you are free to play, I do want to go over some strategies that you could utilize if you are concerned about stamina and you still want to take advantage of some of the things in the exchange shop. Because as you know, even though we've been getting stamina, potions and stuff like that, the game overall still is pretty stingy if you've already been doing a lot of farming. So my recommendation is, if you really want to capitalize on the rewards of the hardest difficulty and get carried, here's what you want to do. Join a Discord that you know is active in Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. You can join mine. It's linked in the video description down below. If you don't want to join mine, I also link the Ever Crisis one. Get one or two friends that are like hyper carries, like very, very powerful. Have them carry you through this. Make sure you have heals though, because I was actually carrying for the previous one and we didn't have too many heals and I ended up dying, unfortunately. But make sure you have heals. Make sure you have somebody that can provide a decent amount of heals, and you will constantly farm this one. This is probably the most effective for free-to-play or light spenders who don't necessarily have the power, but you can at least take part in this. I want to caution you guys though, this will only work if the person carrying you hosts it in private mode. If you try to join a random, it will not let you unless you are at a certain power. You need to keep that in mind, because some people are trying to do it at random and they're like, well, I can't join. You need to have someone create a private room for you. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, so let's say you go that route, but you're still suffering a little bit on the stamina issue. Well, which items should you ideally prioritize? Well, you're going to be getting the yellow mega watermelons. So with those, you can get there's 4 rewards that we can get here. You get the 1,000 waves copies of Glenn's weapon, you get the draw tickets, you get Aerith's memories, you get Glenn's memories. If you go the route of having a whale carry you, these should be pretty attainable with a pretty decent amount of farming. And when it comes to the lifesavers, it really depends on how much you have left over from part 1. If you have some left over, like I do, you could potentially just buy out the entire shop. However, if you're running low on stamina and you need to prioritize, I would personally grab, obviously, the Glenn's specific weapon part, because this is a universal piece of an item that you could use for overboosting. If you don't have parts of a certain weapon, this will take place of that, so this is always good to grab. I would definitely consider grabbing these synth catalyst pieces, because currently, right now, the only way you could really get them are through the very hard Mako reactor, and there's another one that you could get it from. Let's double check right here what it is. Mako Reactor very hard, or Fort Tamblin very hard on the Crisis dungeons. Again, not everybody has access to that level of power just yet, but if you want something to prioritize, I would definitely grab these if you have the currency to do so. The rest of these items, I know that these nano cubes and these genopods are really annoying to farm, because they lock them with the premium quest for the better drops, and then there are normal quests, but even with the stamina boost ×4, you get like 2 or 3. So it's not the most effective way to farm them, but because they are farmable, if you are free to play and you are running low on stam, I would possibly consider skipping these. Yes, I know it hurts because it's really good to have these, but again, I'm just trying to come across here as like, okay, I'm a free-to-play or light spender. I don't have all the stamina in the world to spend, but I want my whale friends to carry me, and I want the rewards that matter most. I would say probably ignore these if you don't have the necessary currency. I definitely get the weapon parts, and then I would definitely go for the catalyst if you have a good amount left over. But that's all in all gonna go ahead and conclude this guide for the part 2 beach festival fun event. Let me know in your thoughts down below about part 2 of this event. What do you guys think so far? Do you guys think they're releasing events a little bit too fast? Do you guys think they're releasing banners too fast? Let me know down your experience so far with the game and what you guys think. Thank you guys again for watching. Stay tuned for the next video, and stay blessed, everybody.